I mean, it was the most bizarre beginning to a hearing I've seen in some time, and that's saying something in Washington where you live, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really just shows that censorship is a culture that extends far beyond Silicon Valley at this point. The Democrats had no shame in trying to derail this entire hearing just to make sure that RFK Jr. couldn't say what he says on his social media platforms or during his interviews. And the same strategy is used by Silicon Valley tech companies every day to try and make sure those things don't proliferate on social media. And it doesn't matter if they're true or not. As RFK mentioned, they just make up new terms to try and find a way to get you off the platform or out of the congressional hearing room. And so this is just snowballed to a point where it's almost comical to watch these things unfold in real time.
Oh, and he got quite direct with Stacey Plaskett, the member of Congress from the U.S. Virgin Islands, who's the senior member on the committee for the Democrats, saying you're totally disinformation is what she's doing, totally not representing what he said about Jewish people. So it's complete lies. And the one thing he said that they have gone to great lengths to paint him as is an anti-vaxxer. He says, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. All of my children got the COVID vaccine. I am legal with the COVID vaccine, up to date, as he said. No, he said he's up to date on all other vaccines except the COVID vaccine. The point being is he's not an anti-vaxxer, but everybody in that room probably thought that he was. Millions of Americans think he is because that's the way he's been painted. He says he has been smeared. And he's being smeared because he's running against Joe Biden, don't you think?
Absolutely. And I mean, this really highlights another big issue when it comes to digital media censorship. It's very one-sided, and it allows for, whether it be an elected official, a public figure, or just an average person, to slander someone in a public setting like Twitter or a congressional hearing, and they don't get the chance to respond. RFK is in a unique position where he has a big enough audience where he can kind of debunk these things as they happen. But if you're a smaller person, if you're someone like myself, and someone launches an attack like this and you don't have a platform to defend yourself, it's just accepted as fact. And that's the scary territory that we find ourselves in, where we don't even have the ability to defend ourselves if you're taken off these social media platforms. And a lot of the time, as we saw in this hearing, as we saw in Missouri versus Biden, it's being done at the behest of government. And so it's very concerning across the board to watch this, and whether it be a congressional hearing or just happening to a small average person in the United States.